Welcome everyone to day 2 of this Embodied Woman Challenge. And of course, men can do this as well. I just tend to have more of an audience of women. And whether you're a woman or a man, this information is really important in empowering yourself to know what your body is actually communicating with you and also understand how your body works. Understanding your nervous system and how your nervous system is actually trying to take care of you is such a key part in embodying, in having this experience of being in a body. So I'm going to give you a little bit more information about your nervous system today. And I'm going to share just a short practice, very simple, some breath work and some sound to balance your nervous system, to bring it back to a sense of peace and calm. These practices are, they're kind of like hacks that you can use, exercises you can use in your day, and they can assist you. However, to really heal your body, to really bring yourself back to peace and calm, requires you to really get educated and go on a journey of really getting to know how your brain and your mind is working with your body, and how your mind is affecting your body, and how your body is affecting your mind. So I believe that information is power. So education is powerful. And like I had said in yesterday's video, I was missing so much information about my nervous system. And when I got that information, I then became even more empowered, because now I began to understand how my mind was affecting my body, what was happening when I was getting anxiety, what was going on, and why that was happening. I will get more into why understanding your nervous system is so important in a free webinar masterclass that I'm doing next Tuesday. So I'll post the link to that in this group and in the description above, and I'll go more in depth into that. And then I have created a 4-month journey, the Embodied Woman series, for those of you who really just want to be in a space where you're supported, where you have been guided with information, with you're being educated, and you get practices that support your body and empower you in understanding how your mind is being affected, how your mind is affecting your body, and how your body is also showing up. So that will begin in April. I'll have more information about the Embodied Woman series next week. So join the free webinar on the nervous system if you want to stay connected and be invited to the Embodied Woman online series. Okay, so let's begin. So today we're going to talk about a little bit first about the nervous system, and then I'm going to lead you into a practice with breath and with sound to calm your system. So the nervous system, there's 2 parts of the nervous system. You have the sympathetic nervous system and you have the parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system signals your body's system on alert, right? So if you were in the jungle and there was a lion about to chase you, your heart, your body would signal to you, right? There's a threat here. We're about to be attacked. Your heart would start racing. Your blood would start rushing. You'd start to, your feet would start to want to run. That is your sympathetic nervous system kicking in to give you the signals to alert yourself it's time to run, and then you run, right? It's how you keep yourself alive. That's part of our system that is perceiving threat in our environment and giving us that information. Now, that is required when you're out in the wild and you're out in the jungle and there's threats all around you. But in today's world, we don't really have those threats. So what's happened is when there has been trauma in our world, or we've grew up in a home where there was a lot of abuse, or we have unresolved trauma, we are constantly reading our environment as if it's a threat. And so our sympathetic nervous system is constantly keeping us on alert, right? Do you ever find yourself very hyper vigilant? You know, you see people like, they're like, they're always like on edge, right? It's their sympathetic nervous system is constantly on alert. They're constantly reading things as a threat. And that's also where your mind comes in. Your mind is reading things as a threat. And like I said, we're not in the jungle anymore. There's no lion chasing you, but maybe your mind is reading your phone as the lion, or your partner, or sex, or food, or money, or business. Like there's all these things that your mind may be reading as a threat to you, and then giving that signal to your body, this is a threat, we need to get away from this, putting you on alert, which is then creating anxiety, hyperventilation, high blood pressure, and then that affects your digestive system. It affects all the systems of your body. Hence, then you end up with digestive issues, pain, physical pain in your body, all different sorts of physical illnesses start to show up. What we want to do is actually really come back to our parasympathetic nervous system. So the parasympathetic is what signals you to relax, right? It's what signals you to be calm, to be at ease. When you're at calm, when you're at ease, when you're relaxed, that's when rest and digest happens. That's when the healing happens, right? So when you go to sleep at night and your parasympathetic system is kicked in, you're relaxed, you can sleep, your body can heal itself. We want to actually get to be in that space a lot more in our day than in that alert, hyper vigilant, sympathetic way. Okay. So parasympathetic, how we activate the parasympathetic is by a lot of these practices that a lot of you probably do already, like breath work and movement, being out in nature, even sound. Sound is so powerful. I'm going to introduce you to a sound today that actually starts to regulate your vagus nerve. And so the vagus nerve is what connects the brain to the heart and to the digestive system. And the vagus nerve is like the longest nerve in the body. And when we can use like humming and a humming sound to balance the vagus nerve. So when our vagus nerve is off balance, when our nervous system is off balance, if you're in sympathetic, you're in fight or flight, right? A lot of us spend a lot of time in fight or flight. It's where you're constantly on the go, you're pushing, you're anxious, you're angsty, you're overactivated, right? Did you ever drink too much caffeine? Like, I'm very sensitive to caffeine, and today I had some cacao, which has some caffeine in it, and I also vaped, and I noticed when I vape too much, that puts me into like this hyper, like too much energy state, right? It's like I'm hyperactivated. And so just even having that information is a game changer. Before, I was always getting hyperactivated, but I would just carry on and push through, not realizing that my body wasn't having time to relax, to come back to rest and digest and to heal. So I was spending a lot of time in this fight or flight, hyperactivated, and I wasn't getting enough time in this parasympathetic rest and digest. And you notice when you're in this calmer place, when you're at ease, when you're feeling balanced, how much easier it is to create, to have relationships, to communicate with people, to put things out in the world, right? So a lot of us what happens with our nervous system is we've lived so much in one state. Like for some of us, we've lived so much in fight or flight. It's so familiar, it's comfortable, that you might actually avoid the parasympathetic, the relaxation, the rest and digest. You read that as not safe. Now I'm really getting into what I'm going to teach next Tuesday in the free masterclass. So I don't want to go too long here, but just understanding that we have a comfort in what's familiar, and what's familiar we read as safe, even though it may not be healthy for us at all. It may not be safe, but we read it as safe. So if you've spent a lot of your life in this fight or flight, you may avoid being relaxed. You may avoid slowing down. You may avoid this rest and digest, this healing place. So that's why we have to teach our system to have this tolerance for it, to grow our capacity for it over time. And that's why I wanted to create the 4-month journey for Embodied Woman, to lead you through that, to help you grow that tolerance over a space of time, right? Because it's like, I couldn't just go from being hyperactive, living in fight or flight all the time, to now I'm going to sit at home and meditate and be in rest and digest and be calm all the time. It doesn't happen like that. I had to teach my system it, and I had to grow my capacity to be in rest and digest, to be in a calm space. Now, for some people, it's the opposite. They've lived a lot of their life in this dissociative state where it's kind of like what we call freeze. It's like you're checked out. It's like you're not really engaged in life. You're just a little bit checked out, no energy, no real sense of being able to get things moving, just a very dissociative feeling. And that can be your safe place, and that can be so familiar, it's safe. So for you to get energy, get activated, get moving, that can feel like a threat. So equally with that space, you also have to teach your system, grow the capacity to have energy, to be more active, more activated. And then you can have both. You can yo-yo back and forth, right? You can go very high, very activated, very fight or flight, and then you could another time just be totally dissociated, not want to get out of bed. Beautiful thing is we can change this, we can heal this, and it's really, number one, having the information. Education is power. Information is powerful. It allows you to create a change. And then number two, like really just introducing these simple practices in your day. So we're going to introduce a little practice for your vagus nerve, right? So when your vagus nerve is, like for me today, like I said, I had a little bit too much caffeine, and I could feel my system getting a little too activated, right? Some activation is great. We all need some activation to get through our day, to move, to get things done. But I could feel myself getting a little too hyper activated. And that's when that palpitation in my belly my heart started racing, right? So these are some of the practices you can use when that happens. On the opposite end, if you find yourself being very checked out today, like not really wanting to do anything, not really wanting to move, like just feeling like, oh, I just want to lay in bed, this can also help you in getting some more activation and in moving past through that dissociation freeze state to actually get some energy and activation and to bring a sense of balance to your system. Okay. So with that, we're going to begin first with a breath work. Very simple breath work. We're going to take an inhale for a count of 6, and then we're going to exhale through your mouth, like you're blowing out your mouth, for a count of 8. I will lead us in the count. So inhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now you're going to blow out through your mouth for a count of 8. Slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's do that again. Inhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now exhale out your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Beautiful. Take a pause and just notice. Notice what's happening in your system. And now again, notice as you inhale, it's signaling to your vagus nerve. It's signaling to your parasympathetic nervous system that it's safe now to relax. Maybe you've been busy all day. You haven't been in that place of it's safe to relax, but now it is. So as you inhale, breathe in through your nose. 3, 4, 5, 6. And as you exhale, you're releasing any of that angsty energy you've been holding on to. Beautiful. Okay, we'll do another round, and you can count yourselves. So inhale through your nose for a count of 6. Hold at the top. And now you're going to exhale, breathe out your mouth, long exhale for a count of 8. Pause. Check in with your body. Beautiful. Just noticing how the breath is now signaling to your nervous system that it's safe to relax. It's signaling to your mind that it's safe to relax. It's safe to slow down. It's safe to heal. Your parasympathetic nervous system is kicking in. Rest and digest is happening. Your body is incredible. Your body is always healing itself. And us giving ourselves these moments in our day to allow that to happen is just supporting our body. So again, inhaling through your nose for a count of 6. Breathing out your mouth for a count of 8. Beautiful. Again, take a pause with your body. Check in with your heart rate. Notice your heart rate. Notice your digestive system. Notice your mind. And now we're going to do some vagus nerve sound healing. So the vagus nerve, like I said, it's the longest nerve in the body. And when we get off balance with our nervous system, using this sound, and it's a humming sound. Humming is so powerful. Like our ancestors knew this. Humming sound, sound as a therapy has been around forever. It's incredibly powerful because it stimulates the vagus nerve and it creates this vibration from our brain down into our heart, down into our digestive system to really stimulate that vagus nerve back to a sense of balance. So it's a sound called VO, VOO. So it's a humming vo sound. So you're going to inhale, pulling up on the pelvic floor, through your belly, through your heart, through your throat, connecting with your third eye, with your mind, your brain, and then exhale the sound vo out your mouth. Take a breath. Let that move. Notice what you notice. We're going to do it 2 more times. So again, inhale, pelvic floor, to your digestive system, into your heart, through your throat, connect with your mind, your brain, your third eye, and exhale using the sound vo. Now I have burping. That's a sign my body is moving energy. The rest and digest is happening. So take a moment to notice what you notice. And I understand that sometimes your mind doesn't want to do this sound because it's weird and it's different, and your mind may read it as a threat to you. And so what if you're willing just to try something different and see the effect it has on your body? So again, inhaling, pelvic floor to your belly, heart, throat, third eye, exhaling, letting the vo sound out your throat move through your nervous system. Come back to your soft breath, inhaling through your nose, exhaling out your mouth. What do you notice? Notice your heartbeat. There you go. Very simple practices to reset your nervous system, balance your vagus nerve, activate your parasympathetic nervous system to allow rest and digest, healing to occur. Okay, guys, thank you for joining me. Have a beautiful day. Bye.